Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today, we're taking a tour of my race car garage in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, I don't believe that I've ever done a video on the cars that I use for racing, and let alone in a garage. I know I've done a video going over what's the best car to use in each category for, new gen, last gen, all that sort of stuff. I don't think that I've necessarily ever done a tour of my racing car garage in Grand Theft Auto Online, so that is what we are doing today. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the first car here. And the first car is, of course, the BF Club. Now, this thing is available on Southern San Andreas Super Autos for about $1.3 million. Now, it is by far the fastest compact vehicle in the game, even beating out the Grotta Italia HSW on the new generation consoles. The BF Club is truly in a league of its own within the compacts category. This thing truly is absolutely incredible. It has really good acceleration, really good top speed for what it is. Semi-decent handling for being a front-wheel drive. It's also got tons and tons of customization, so that is another great feature about this thing. If you're looking for a great compact car, and if you're basically wanting to be guaranteed a win in the compacts category, the BF Club is a car for you. It does come at a bit of a hefty price tag, but it is worth every single penny. Anyways, on to the next vehicle. Next up, we have the former fastest muscle car in Grand Theft Auto Online around a circuit. This is, of course, the Vapid Click. Now, the Vapid Click no longer is the fastest muscle car around a track in Grand Theft Auto Online within the muscle car category. Now, the Vapid Click still is really, really good. It handles better than the vast majority of the muscle cars in the game, and it is really, really good acceleration-wise. It's got a pretty good top speed as well. It's pretty light too, so that is another great feature about it. However, it's not exactly the fastest muscle car in the game. You will still have more success with this thing than with most of the other muscle cars, so long as there are corners within the race that you are doing. The Click has some good customization, and for what it is honestly a really, really good car. I would definitely recommend picking up a Vapid Click, but make sure you watch to the end of the video because there is a muscle car that is a little bit better than this thing for racing. So let's move on to the next car. Next up, of course, we have the Benefactor Krieger. Now, the Benefactor Krieger is my supercar of choice for most supercar races in Grand Theft Auto Online, whether that is stunt racing or road racing in the supercars category. I think that the Krieger does an absolutely awesome job. Now, the only problem with the Krieger is it is on the expensive side of things, coming in at about $3 million. I know it's not quite there, it's about 2.7 something. But it is pretty damn expensive, unfortunately. However, for that price, you do get the fastest supercar in the entire game around a track on last gen. So that's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. We don't have HSW and all that stuff now, so it technically is still probably the fastest supercar around most circuits. So it's got all-wheel drive, which definitely helps out with the overall performance of the vehicle, I would say. It's a pretty clean looking vehicle. I don't have any problem with the Krieger. I mean, this livery is not exactly super nice looking, but it's the one that I chose. And I mean, it doesn't look too bad, I guess. So there you have it. That's the Krieger. This is my supercar of choice. It's got great acceleration, great off the line, pretty good top speed. Not as good as some of the other supercars, but pretty good, pretty respectable. And of course, it has decent handling as well. So overall, a pretty damn good car. Next up, we have the Progen Emerus. Now, the Emerus is arguably the fastest supercar in the game. Basically, these two are completely tied. It's all up to personal preference. The Emerus has better downforce, however, it has lower grip levels and probably a bit worse handling in slow speed conditions. In fast speed corners, the Emerus will kill the Krieger. However, in sharper, slower corners, the Krieger will probably kill the Emerus. This thing is rear-wheel drive only, whereas the Krieger is, of course, all-wheel drive, so that does make quite a big difference. Now, the Emerus does have a bit of a higher top speed. I would say a bit worse acceleration overall than the Krieger just because of the all-wheel drive, but this thing definitely has higher downforce, and in high-speed corners, I definitely would say that this thing handles a bit better. Overall, if I had to pick between the two, I'm taking the Krieger, but the Emerus is still a really good car, so if you got some money lying around and you're trying to race, maybe look into both of them. You never know which one you might like more. So there you have it. Let's move on to the next vehicle. And of course, the next vehicle is the classy Hot Ring Saber. Now, this is only for the Hot Ring circuit races. That's the only reason I have this thing. I mean, other than that, it does say Bean Machine on it, which I think is pretty cool. So that's kind of why I still have this car, is because it says Bean Machine, and I think it's mildly entertaining. Now, unfortunately, this car, I don't think that it really has much customization beyond the livery, which does kind of suck a lot. but it is still a pretty fast car. However, in my opinion, it definitely could be a better car. It's not terrible, but you know, outside of the hot ring sort of circuit races, the Bean Machine and the Declassy Hot Ring Saber just are not really that impressive of a vehicle, unfortunately. So there you have it. That's it for the Declassy Hot Ring Saber. Let's move on to the other side of the garage. Starting off, for the vans category, we have the Rampo Custom. This is by far the fastest van in Grand Theft Auto Online. If for some reason you want to do van-related races, the Profoto Rampo Custom is definitely the vehicle that you want to have. This thing handles way better than any of the other ones, has better acceleration and a better top speed. It's also got a tiny bit of customization as well, so that is pretty handy to have, I guess. I think it's a pretty cool looking vehicle, definitely the coolest looking van in my opinion, and that's really all I have to say about the Rampo Custom. I think it goes for about $155,000, so it's relatively cheap. I mean, you really cannot go wrong with this thing. Definitely pick up a Rampo Custom if you plan on doing van races in GTA Online. Next up, we have the Grotta Italia GTO. Now, this is the best sports car in all of Grand Theft Auto Online for circuit racing. Now, before the Ocelot Pariah and the Italia RSX guys get in here, this is around a circuit that I'm talking about. The Pariah has a better top speed than the GTO. The RSX does as well. However, both of those cars are way worse in corners than the Italia GTO is. This thing is all-wheel drive. It has insane acceleration, very good handling. It's actually got a semi-weak top speed, but this thing can be used on the curbs in races to get a significant speed boost, so that will kind of make up for the top speed being a little bit lower. It's also got tons and tons of customization, and it goes for about $1.9 million, so it is a relatively cheap vehicle for the performance that you get. Not that $2 mil is cheap, but you know, it's pretty good for the performance. It is literally the best sports car in the entire game for racing, in my opinion at least, and by most people in GTA Online. So there you have it. That's it for the Grotta Italia GTO. Definitely pick one of these up for sure. On to the next one. Next up, we have the fastest coupe in the entire game. This is, of course, the Karen Previon. Now, this was added with the Tuners DLC that came out last summer in Grand Theft Auto Online, and it was a very dominant force within the coupes category in GTA Online until it got nerfed in the Contract DLC. And even after it got nerfed in the Contract DLC, it still was very dominant. However, now in Grand Theft Auto Online, we do have the HSW variant of the Sentinel XS, which is of course in the coupes category. So it can give this thing a run for its money, especially when it comes to top speed. However, the Karen Previon still does handle just a little bit better than it. So really, I would go ahead and take the Karen Previon over the Sentinel XS HSW. And obviously, HSW only affects you guys if you are actually on the new versions of Grand Theft Auto Online on the PS5, the Xbox Series X and S. So if you're not, if you're on old gen, the Karen Previon is still going to be absolutely dominant. So you should definitely pick one up if you plan on doing coupes races at any point in history ever. That's it for the Karen Previon. Next up, we have the Lampadaddy 5000 for the sedans category. Now, this is by far the fastest sedan in Grand Theft Auto Online by a couple of seconds a lap on average. This thing is just so quick. It handles amazingly well, which is probably its biggest advantage over some of the other competition. Not many of the sedan vehicles handle too well in Grand Theft Auto Online. So for this thing to handle really well and also have good acceleration and a pretty decent top speed, as well as tons of customization, the Lampadaddy 5000, you really cannot go wrong with this car. It is a little on the expensive side, but it's not too expensive to make it not worth having. That is absolutely for sure. Overall, the Lampadaddy 5000 is a great car, and I would definitely say that I recommend picking this thing up. And that is it for the Lampadaddy 5000. We have one more car to go over, and that is, of course, the Profoto Buffalo SX. Like I said about the muscle cars category, the Vapid Click used to be the king of it, but now the Profoto Buffalo SX is the king by several seconds per lap. Now don't get me wrong, a better driver in a Vapid Click or a better driver in a Vapid Dominator ASP could potentially beat a really bad driver within an STX. However, 90% of the time, if the person has posable thumbs, the Profoto Buffalo STX will come out victorious in most muscle car races. So the Profoto Buffalo STX, I mean, it's a fantastic car. I go on and on about this thing. You guys are probably sick and tired of me talking about it, but it truly has so many good features. It goes for about $1.6 million with the trade price unlocked. You can equip it with armor. You can also equip it with Imani Tech, either a remote control device or a missile lock-on jammer. Those are both great options. The missile lock-on jammer is super useful. You can equip it with machine guns and an oil slick proximity mine dropper as well. Overall, the Profoto Buffalo STX is probably the best overall car out of all of them in this garage to own in Grand Theft Auto Online. However, for racing, it is also very dominant in the muscle cars category. You really cannot beat this thing. Anyway guys, there you have it. That has been my racing car garage tour in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you want to see more garage tours, or if you want to see any of these cars customized or any other ones, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.